Do this. Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of AI Insiders from AI Marketers Guild. Great to see you all today. We've got a really fun guest today, and Jeremiah Owyang and we've had so much overlap. And one of the fun facts is that Jeremiah was on the first live panel that I've ever been on. Uh, 20 years ago, Frost and Sullivan, we were just kids trying to figure all this stuff out in early days of search. And we were with Avinash Kaushik, an SEO guru, and Ted Murphy, who from IZEA fame, and just like being like the weird digital folks in a much more traditional conference. And so I have had the pleasure learning from Jeremiah so many times over the years because he's just always ahead, and whether it's an analyst or investor, community founder, all his different roles. Jeremiah to thank for just so much of what I know, including, of course, of what's happening in AI. I really don't think that there's anyone better right now who I've seen as far as articulating where AI agents are going and the impact of them. So like I'll put his LinkedIn and everything in the chat, but like if you haven't known already, you need to follow him. We all do because he's always got something really useful. Jay, I'm going to stop with the intros and let you speak, and can't wait to hear from you. Just a reminder to the group, this should be interactive. Jeremiah loves interactivity.
Yeah.
So like chime in with stuff, raise your hands, throw things at the screen, like whatever you need to do. Uh, and and let's have a great conversation.
Cool. Do you see full screen now,
I
David?
do, yeah.
Okay, cool. I've got the chat open. I can see everything. Hey, everybody. Awesome. Okay, we're going to talk about AI agents and marketing. I've been we've been planning this event, so I'm so excited we can be here, and the timing is just perfect. Okay, my background, I've been in Silicon Valley for 27 years, work in big tech. I've worked in startups. 15 years ago, I was a Forrester analyst, and a number of us spun out to start Altimeter Group. You might know Charlene Lee, Brian Solis, and a host of others. And then I started another company called Crowd Companies. And also I started angel investing since 2017, even in AI. And then I became a limited partner in Blitzscaling Ventures. That means I put money into the fund. And then I was invited about a year and a half ago to become the general partner to run the AI fund. And so I'm very excited to be here now. Now, if you haven't heard of Blitzscaling, it's based on the famous book called Blitzscaling, which was a Stanford class taught by Chris Ye, my friend for 20 years, and Reid Hoffman. So Reid is actually one of our major limited partners, and he's our advisor. In fact, he reviews our AI deals before we invest. So that means that I need to bring a high caliber of companies. And yes, Reid Hoffman started LinkedIn, PayPal Mafia, like that guy. All right. In May 2023, 18 months ago, I started an event series for the AI market called Llama Lounge. In fact, there was one Llama Lounge. We hosted it in New York. David was able to find me a great venue. Llama Lounge has grown by leaps and bounds. It started off at a little pizza shop in Ninth and Market in dilapidated San Francisco, and it's just grown and grown and grown. On average, today, the events, Llama Lounge 15 has been just completed last month. It's around 300 AI founders, around 50 VCs, and around 25 corporate AI folks. Community is one of my superpowers. Analyzing markets is another one. So I use those skills together to bring everybody together. It helps me to find the best startups to invest in. And I do something very memorable and stupid, but memorable at each event. You can see me in front. To get the crowd's attention, I do a call and response, but not with my voice. I use a giant snail shell, a conch shell that I think I got in Hawaii like 20 years ago. And by the way, I play it very, very well because I used to be a jazz trombone player. So like I can hit the note every single time and hit it correctly. It's a E4, by the way, in case you're musically inclined. All right. So what is the AI agent market? Well, it's just burgeoning. It is a brand new market that's estimated at around 5 billion right now. And every single LLM, large AI platform, is going to launch AI agents. And there's hundreds, if not thousands, of AI agent startups. And large companies are adopting them as well, including big tech. We'll talk about, and I'll show you some examples. It's estimated to grow at around 10x every 5 years. So it can go up to like 65 billion in about 2030. And then after that, 25 to 2030, and then it could be up to 500 billion as an estimate. And AI agents are the hot category. Now, I'm an early stage investor, former CMO, former Forrester analyst covering marketing. And right now, the LLM markets are not a place where VCs can invest unless you have billions of dollars, because the capital expenditure to launch an LLM, and there's very few of them, is incredibly expensive and hard to get into those deals. So the AI agents are the hot category. This is why the market is going bonkers, bananas for this particular market. Now, what is an AI agent? Oh gosh. So maybe we could talk about this taxonomy. In fact, this is actually a roadmap. So you are probably using an AI copilot like a GPT or 3. GPT 4.0 or Anthropic's Claude, and it's probably embedded in an existing app. And you have to prompt it, and it's like a coworker, and you work together synchronously in real time. Now, the next wave that's coming is an AI assistant. Microsoft is rolling this out with Microsoft Live. They're using GPT, and it can go through Outlook, Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, and it threads through all those apps in that suite. Obviously, Google is doing the same as well with Gemini. So that's an AI assistant, and that's still often synchronous, and you have to prompt it. Now, an AI agent, and this is where we're going to focus our time today, is slightly different. Think of it as a junior worker. Think of it as a young 20-year-old that's starting off their career, that's working for you at your company. They can do tasks autonomously, and they can work asynchronously. They can work when you're not there. They can work all night, and you can hire as many intern like these agents to do tasks for you. I'll show you live examples in just a second. And so the AI agents have a couple of behaviors that are attributes that are unique to them. One is they can figure out what tasks to do on their own, and they use LLMs, of course, to generate that task. Two, they might have memory. They might access your prior records. Three, they can go on multiple locations and apps, and they complete tasks. Four, they can recruit other agents to help them. And five, they learn. So it's different than a bot. It's different than a copilot. An AI agent is like an autonomous entity. If you've ever seen a self-driving car, there's quite a few in San Francisco. Those are AI agents, but mechanized. So they are already here. And that leads, of course, to the next wave, which we're not going to talk about today, which would be artificial general intelligence equal to human capability, and then something even greater, which would be called the super intelligence.
So,
What's
can
up?
I just ask you something?
Yeah.
You talk about things like cars and chat GPT. I mean, but I also feel like, agents, at least for me and maybe some others, like a thing of like something that's doing things that are even a little more automated without your direct input. I mean, it's totally see where cars fit into that. I'm wondering, are there things in the AI space that are not agents?
Well, yeah, computer vision is like looking at like what are people doing in the Zoom call. That's not really an agent, it's analyzing. Natural language processing is just you can have a conversation with like a pre-scripted chatbot. This doesn't really count. Predictive AI, where like matching marketplaces or your Amazon orders, not really. Generating images or videos, that's not really an agent. So an agent is autonomous. It can go and do tasks. And so it should be like, think of it as a limb, like a limb that actually goes and does things. So that it is slightly different in that way.
Mhm.
Oh, by the
And
way, it's very muddy, but like one
yeah,
entity 1, 2, 3 is very muddy. Like there's, by the way, most of these startups that are in category 1 or 2 are rebranding as agents right now. So it's like hard to tell like what is what.
Yeah. It sounds like the big distinction that I think you're drawing here is between narrow AI systems and general AI systems, which like language models and things like that we're building a lot of the AI, the agent architecture around are general systems as opposed to those things that have a specific job. They're AI, they've been AI all along, but they're not the types of things that are going to be agents. They could be called as tools, but they're not the agentic type of things. Do you think that's an accurate way of kind of framing it, Jeremiah?
There are vertical specific narrow agents and there's horizontal platforms, which I'll show you. So it doesn't always lend completely to that.
And James had a comment or question.
Yeah, Jeremiah, thank you for presenting today. My question is around the requirements to be an AI agent. Are you required to have your own proprietary LLM, or is the application layer of the AI value chain still considered an AI agent?
So most of the AI agents are tapping the API from an existing LLM for two reasons. One is to generate its task list. So you might have an agent that you tell it to go shopping for you. And so say, okay, well, where should I go shopping? Let me come up with a list of places to go. And then two, it uses LLMs to have that natural language with you. So the AI agent startups are not generating an LLM. Again, the capital required to start an LLM is around $500 million to pre-train plus the chips. So there's no way they're going to build it. So, but you asked a great question. So some of the AI agent startups have access to exclusive data, whether that's your private cloud or corporate cloud. And I'll show you some examples in a sec. So that is slightly different. And that would be an interesting potential application. So let's move forward. And I think we'll get more clarity rather than debate the definitions. So I want to talk to you about why I think agents are so important. We oscillated, what are they? But here's why this is the most interesting thing to me as a former marketer. So right now, all of you use the internet, but you never stop to realize that the internet is actually kind of a crappy experience. What? Jeremiah, I thought you loved the internet.
Yeah.
Did you have a website? Yeah, I do. Don't diss the internet, Jeremiah. But does the internet have a consistent user experience from website to website? Is your data respected? Are there pop-ups? Once you go to a website, doesn't it track you and there's cookies? And oh, well, let's talk about, fine. Maybe I'm going to get my information by using Google. We all use Google search. You know, David, next time you come to Palo Alto, well, why don't you ask me? Say, Jeremiah, where are the best restaurants in Palo Alto? Go ahead, because I know.
Jeremiah, where are the best restaurants in Palo Alto, California?
I'm so glad you asked, David. I know the top 10 restaurants. Here's the list, but I'm not going to tell you what they are. You have to visit my sponsors. That's exactly what Google does. Google knows the answers that we want, but instead it gives David a list of 10 blue links. And then you click on those different websites to find restaurant reviews or visit that restaurant. And maybe the information that you want is at the bottom of that page. And there's ads all over the search and results page. And that news article that's reviewing the top Palo Alto restaurants has got ads all over it. And then, David, you got hitchhiker ads, retargeting, following you as it goes on.
And on top of that, even the things that look organic are companies that are paying so many thousands or millions of dollars to be there.
Right? Yes, that too. So it's almost as if, now this is crazy thought, it's almost as if Google's serving advertisers, not users. Is that a crazy thought? I don't know. All right. So now in the future, AI agents, which autonomously will conduct tasks for you, will visit those websites for you. And they will get that information for you and bring it back to you. Are you a marketer in this group? You should have an epiphany right now. This means the most dominant entity to visit your website, your .com, will not be a human. The most dominant entity to visit your website when AI agents become proliferated will be this AI technology, not a human. Thesis 2. When the AI agents go out to the websites, collect that information, and also complete tasks, fill in your forms, maybe conduct e-commerce, maybe read reviews and bring it back to one place, they will reassemble that information in the way that the user wants. And it might be, David, I think you love visual and text content, right? Maybe not audio. I don't know. Maybe not visual, maybe not VR, AR. It's up to you to choose.
Yeah, way less audio, video. I just want to see the text.
You're visual and you want the text. So your AI agent will assemble it in the way that you want, text-based and visual-based. By the way, even if it went to a website with no visuals, It will generate a visual for you, David, in the way that you want. And how much information do you want, David? A little, medium, or a lot? You choose.
I want to freaking point. I don't have time for the whole
concise, succinct amount of information distilled for the way David wants.
Yeah,
and then
right.
3, David, when do you want your information? Tonight, tomorrow, next week, weekend?
Not on the maybe like first thing in the morning, weekdays. That's it.
All right. So the AI agent's going to bring forward a text base with a visual representation in the mornings, really simple for David on the queries that he gave it. David doesn't have to go to some marketer's website. And this is the biggest change that we've seen in marketing.
Or all the publishers' websites that are serving marketers ads.
That too. Don't forget apps, right? So this begs the interesting question. What role do marketers play when AI agents get that information for you, bring it back to you, and reassemble it? And that's the crux of the thesis that I'm investing on. Millions of dollars, by the way. All right. So let me show you some examples. Well, let's start with, we'll do this one. So clearly, marketers know this is happening. And this is why Salesforce rebranded their conference this fall in San Francisco to be called Agent Force. And they're basically saying, Mark Benioff, that is, hey, marketers, don't fall behind on this important trend. You can have AI agents to help your customer experience. We have 3 agents we're rolling out, one for marketing, one for customer care, and one for sales to replace BDRs and ADRs. And they're going to be orchestrated. That's a term, agent orchestration. It basically means agent management. Will be done by our tool called Atlas. So that is an important thing. And I think Chris Hewer went to Agent Force, right, Chris? No?
No, I just watched from afar with horror.
That's right. Okay, great. I know you were in town there, but I wasn't able to join you.
Yeah.
All right. So corporates are doing this as well. By the way, HubSpot launched their version. Check out agent.ai. Somebody dropped the link. It's a marketplace of agent tasks. And Dharmesh put it together at the same time Dreamforce launched theirs. And so those will be integrated into HubSpot. All right. Whoa, guys, listen. Some of the top CRMs are dropping agents, right? We got Salesforce and HubSpot moving into agents. So who's next? Well, Adobe, SAP, IBM, they're all coming, right? So the enterprise line is going to come. Agents everywhere to automate all these things, right? But that's just part of what this vision is that I have, right? In the future, if consumers send their agents to a website, let's say BMW or Ford.com, the AI agents will be talking to other AI agents, the buyer side versus the seller side. So that is a new behavior that we haven't quite seen that can start to happen. And yes, so AI engine optimization is a term that's already, or agent engine optimization, Tony, you're correct. So that is starting to emerge. Okay, now let's talk about the payment layer. So Skyfire is one of the companies that I definitely believe in. In fact, we put a check in. Skyfire enables agents to pay other agents. All right, let's break this down. So a couple of terms I want to introduce. So there's not clear consensus on the terms. So 2 weeks ago, I hosted the AI Agent Congress and invited 30 of the agent founders, CEOs, and some other friends into Palo Alto. And we had a roundtable. Go to my blog, you'll find it. Somebody please grab that link and throw it in there. The AI Agent Congress. It's like towards the top of my blog. And we talked about terms and taxonomy. And so the main agent that a human will interact with could be called a meta agent or a primary agent. Now, big tech, they're just going to say, oh, we'll just call it Apple Intelligence, or just call it Siri, or just call it Gemini, right? Or just call it Alexa. So that is the term. And then your AI agent, your primary one, might hire other specific niche or vertical, or as somebody brought up before, narrow AI agents to conduct what we call execution agents, and they get the task done. Thank you, David. And essentially, the way that your primary agent will hire them is using this new payment layer that's emerging fast. So Skyfire team, they have a credit card on-ramp and off-ramp, and they're using stable coins. They're invested in by Coinbase. So it'll have the Coinbase wallet. It'll be using like the USDC or other stable coins. And they'll be conducting microtransactions, like penny or less than a penny, to access information or to hire an agent to conduct tasks and complete tasks for you. There's another company in the space called Payman, which then your AI agent can hire humans to complete the task if the AI technology is not capable. So, for example, you can hire an AI agent can hire a human to come clean your windows or to deliver something to you. So that, or to do some tasks that a human can't do. By the way, if you're thinking that's crazy, no, it's not. Every Uber driver and Lyft driver already reports to an AI agent for over a decade. They're the ones that tell them where to go. They don't even think about it. The AI is telling them where to go. So it's not that wild. So this is a payment layer that's coming. The credit card companies, the financial services companies are aware of what's happening here, and they're moving in quickly. So on the enterprise side is Crew AI. Crew AI is an open source protocol, and I placed a bet here as well. And they enable enterprises, and they're partnered with IBM, SAP, and I forgot the other one, Microsoft. And they have a deep partnership with KPMG, and you can create a fleet or a group or swarm of agents, which are called crews. And it's perhaps there's two companies that are growing the fastest in the enterprise AI agent space as horizontals, okay, that goes across multiple. It's LangChain and Crew AI. Those are the two players. Okay, now let's talk about multi-on. And David, I'm going to try to share my browser. Okay. Ugh, I always struggle with some of the Zoom stuff. And basically, all right, I got to close this chat. Let's see if we can play the multi-on example. Where is it? Oh, man. It's difficult to find all the browser windows. Okay, I think I got it. So multi-on, their team comes out of Stanford, Microsoft, Uber, and essentially, here we go. And essentially, they conduct autonomous tasks on behalf of humans. Do you see it going into full screen mode?
Yeah, it's small though.
Is it small?
Yeah, it's like the two-thirds of the screen are blacked out, like letterbox, but like it's only showing.
Okay, I don't think I can. Okay, so you can't really see it well, right?
Is there that you see that full screen thing on the bottom? Is that in the bottom?
No, I don't.
It showed up for a split second while you.
You know what? I'm going to grab the link and drop it in here.
Oh, that's better.
Oh, okay. Is that working?
Yeah, that's way better.
Okay. All right, guys. I'm going to start it over. Here's what's happening. Multi-on is an AI agent. So they recorded how it works. It is a browser extension that sits in Chrome right now, but I'm seeing other companies build full-on browsers and apps. Okay. Mm-hmm. So the human can type in or voice command, go to Amazon and buy me these 2 books. Mm-hmm. Now, at this point going forward, the human is making tea. The human is doing yoga. The human is not touching the keyboard. The AI agent is shopping for her. So went to Amazon, it found that book, Radical Candor, and at the bottom right, you can see it's talking about all the tasks, so you can monitor what's happening. So there's a class of software, by the way, called AI Agent Monitoring. And Agent Ops is the leader in San Francisco who's doing that. And they're looking at millions of agents that are conducting tasks in real time across networks, and it's happening already. And they're looking at who's growing. That's by the way, I find out I know the team there, so they tell me who's like the leading startups, and that's one of my sources of data to find out who invested. So right now, the AI agent is adding those 2 books into the shopping cart at Amazon and says, I'm clicking for it and I found it. I'm putting in your thing. Here it goes. I'm ready to buy. Marketers, do you realize how big of a deal this is? Marketers, yes. Do you realize that the AI agent is going to shop for people? Does that mean they're going to make the decisions of which product to buy? All right.
Use case also, I mean, like, do you know how much shit I got upsold on Black Friday, Monday, like hundreds of dollars of stuff I had no intention of buying on Amazon and Allbirds and you name it, and like,
of course,
like what happens to all those like impulse? Man, those shoes look cool. Nah, I'll do 3 shoes instead of the 1 pair I was gonna get, right?
And like, the ads, the agent doesn't see the ads. We'll talk about ads in just a sec. All right, so this one says, schedule a calendar invite with Eric Schmidt. So that one just happened and put it on the calendar. So it's going through any internet based on the browser tab. Now this one is interesting. It says, go to my calendar, find out when my next appointment is, David, and order me an Uber. So it's going into the physical world now. Okay. So it says, oh, there's a party at V's house in Palo Alto. I'm going to grab that address and the time. I know where you are, and I'm going to uber.com and I'm adding in the URL. I'm pasting it in right now. Boom. It uses natural language processing from an LLM to drop it in. It's reading the page and then it orders the Uber. Imagine that one voice command. David, you could say, hey, find out when my next meeting is and order me an Uber. Maybe. I don't know. Of course, you on the subway, but
to me, like that idea, less applicable to New York perhaps, but everywhere else, it's like anytime I have a meeting that is more than a half mile from my home, order me the Uber with the required time to get there.
right.
Get there 10
But
minutes.
this one is applicable to you. New Yorkers don't use their kitchen other than storing their sweaters. So how about this one? Order a burger from the Melt, probably not from Palo Alto, but maybe from Koreatown. And it goes to DoorDash.com and it summons your lunch. Now, all these
Jeremiah,
ads, what's
can I
up?
ask a quick question about the roadmap for multi-on, which is all of this appears like it's happening in the UI
Yes.
level here. And that's a disruptive experience. It means I have to chat with it and then walk away and then come back and chat with it. And one of the things that I've been thinking about and reading about is, being able to use voice and have the agent go inside of your app or inside of the code of the website and perform the task as opposed to manipulating your mouse and moving the UI. So where are we in terms of that functionality being commonplace?
Yeah. So great question. And that's going to lead us to more of the thesis. Actually, you're right. So essentially, what they are doing is the AI agents are simulating the human click path. It goes to the website, clicking on the browser, and then it reads the page using character recognition, and LLM actually deciphers what's actually being said on the page, and then it's thinking, right? And then along the way, that agent is actually recording the behaviors on that DoorDash page, and it starts to build a template. Now, if that page changes, then the agent could break. That's true today. So the agents have to learn or relearn or retrain, and sometimes they do simulations on those pages as well. So yes, for example, a very complicated task where agents struggle right now is booking a United flight or any flight between New York and SF. There's actually a million choices and you have to have data, no preferences. So it's actually considered one of the higher standards for complex tasks. Now you're bringing us to a great point, which Kate, I'll come back to that in just a sec, right? So the bigger question is this: do we need websites? Right. So we'll come back to that. All right, let's move forward. This is a significant and severe change to websites and marketing and search that Gartner and IMX Forrester forecast that Google search engine traffic will plummet by 25% in about 12 months from now, 13 months from now. Oh, wow. Because people will use LLMs to get information and agents. It's not just Gartner. It's also Mr. Bill Gates, who says in this quote from on MSNBC, whoever wins the personal agent, that's the big thing, because you'll never go to a search site again. How, Google? You'll never go to a productivity site again. How, Slack, expense reports, things you don't want to do at work. And you'll never go to Amazon again, says Bill Gates. He's been waiting probably to say that.
That's not fair. I'm sorry. I have to call that out. You're looking at ads right now from, I'm sorry, I should be on camera. Hey, there are ads right now for buying a Google phone where they're just talking to your phone. It's because Gemini is now just fully integrated and way better than Siri's, whatever that thing is. When you're doing Amazon, 19 or something, I was part of some futurist collective. I was like a time traveler in residence, telling people what's 2032 going to be like. And we just had a normal day. And yeah, there's no more Amazon.com because it knows your behavior so well. Stuff just shows up at your door and you can take it or not. And it just knows you. So it's not that the websites disappears, that they decentralize. Everything becomes a website. Every product becomes a storefront. Every ad becomes a window into everything. So it's just that becomes more of a back end. And who's going to win that? Google already has everything integrated. If you go and search Google right now, It's already at the top, the summary that you will stop you from going down the search. It's slowly becoming the AI and the search goes away. So it's fair to say the search will go down 25%. We're still going to go to Google. So the big guys are still winning this. They're just moving at that speed that we don't see it yet or whatever, but it's happening.
Jamie's right, and Kate's question is right. All of these things are exactly how I'm thinking about this. So let's just answer a couple of these things. So I think every website, the presentation layer is going to decouple from the information layer. Jamie's nodding. So what's going to be important is the knowledge base. And that knowledge base, what we're going to see is a new class of software emerge called the agent API, where the agents can go to that website and grab that information immediately, rather than going through the page and scraping the page and clicking through and simulating human. Now, secondly, ads need to change because they may not be having that emotional response like David has with his Allbirds ads. So instead, advertisements may shift to become offers. David's agent will say, I love Allbirds, find me shoes like Allbirds, but I want a 20%, 30% discount. You go and find them, and then that might change that way. So the way that we're going to access information is going to be different. Now, again, back to thesis 1 and 2, the information will come to you in the way that you want. So the question is, do you need websites? Do you need apps? Or a better question is, how many apps do you really need? Maybe it's just Google or Siri, right? Or something different.
And the piece that I'm also really fascinated by is this human behavior layer, right? Like there's that classic example that I can't remember if it's Betty Crocker or Duncan Hines that realized, like, okay, if they put the egg in the mix already, then it felt like you were doing nothing, right? So they made you crack your own egg into this, and now it felt like you were baking a cake. There's still that same part of it, like people want to generally feel like the reason stores still exist, like we haven't needed retail stores for a long time, but people like, I found this. And it's like our hunter-gatherer behavior, right? So how do we go to this agentic future while still feeling like we're doing something?
Yeah, I've thought about this a lot, David. So I don't like doing expense reports. I don't know, maybe you do. I actually don't really like shopping for products I don't give a shit about. I love to shop for products that I care about. So I think there's going to be a few websites that still will be important that humans will go to. Like, let's call them lean in websites. I think it's media. I think it's gaming. I think it's news. And I think it's high-end luxury or lifestyle products and .coms that brands can make some type of experience that you want to do it. So I think we're going to see a change in the websites that people want to access. I don't know. That's still a thesis that's untested.
Well, backing that, Jeremiah, good CX still matters, and it will, but it's going to be more about that emotional resonance, right? That's what we're going to be craving. The thing that makes us feel differently about it instead of feeling frustrated like we do now. But I got a separate question that I was dying to ask earlier, if I may, on the earlier bit. So totally agree with the agentic future and shopping and changing browsing and AEO, instead of SEO as it might be. But we've tried this price personalization before. So, we've been fortunate over the years. Some companies have given us free stuff because we know people, right? And all that. And that's kind of now dealt with a separate way by influencer marketing laws and that. But price personalization, hasn't Amazon already been through a number of lawsuits about that? And where did that all shake out? And how do you think the regulations around that sort of custom offer via agent, based on my past purchase history, my word of mouth, the number of people I know who are likely to purchase the product if I actually do? Aren't they going to be trying to block that somewhat as unfair competition?
I don't know for sure yet. That's a good question. I've never been asked that, but let me explain one thing that I'm seeing out of Skyfire. So there's a term called know your customer, KYC, right? So there's another term in this market called KYA. What's that stand for?
No, CYA.
Know your agent, not cover your ass. That's different. But know your agent. So we're seeing that there will be a new form of certification for an AI agent that will emerge. And David, when you tell your agent to go out and find casual shoes that you like. And by the way, David goes through shoes very fast. I know this because when I walk with him in New York, he says I walk too slow. So he burns through the rubber very fast. This is true. He told me it's painful when he walks with me. I'm from California. And so David needs a lot of shoes. So he's going to tell his agent to go out and find new shoes. Now, David can choose. Does the agent elicit or emit these types of signals? The agent is anonymous, or it could say, I represent somebody from Manhattan who lives in this area. And David, you look very trustworthy. So I have a high credit score, but I'm not going to tell you who I represent. Or maybe the AI agent will say, I represent David Berkowitz, not the killer, in Manhattan, and I have a high credit score and I'm ready to buy the best shoes. So you can choose the level of information that agent would emit, Chris. And so I just don't know the answer to the question on what would be the legal ramifications, because the agent may not even represent a person. Does that make sense? All right, let's move on. So let's talk about how I see the future unfolding for the consumer decision-making experience. So this is the standard funnel that we know today: awareness, engagement, consideration, purchase. I need not lecture this esteemed marketing group. But today we're using ads, Google, media, then we get people to come to our website or our app or some type of interactive. And then the humans are comparing products and or prices or the category itself. And then e-commerce might happen on your .com or maybe from a third party like an online retailer or a website that has all your products. Now, in the future, as you know, we've already discussed, that's not really that great of an experience. In the future, you'll work with an AI to get that information and source it for you going out. The human will prompt the AI agent to get that information for you. And I already use Perplexity and GPT, and then soon AI agents to compare and price products. And then in the midterm, the AI agent should learn from the consumer. Maybe it accesses their email or their chat messages or their credit card information to find out what are your preferences. Like you can find out a lot about David and his preference for text-based and short quips of information by the way he communicates to others. So all of that could be derived from that existing data. So we will see that we will start to shift the way we make decisions. Today, we're manually making decisions on the internet. Then we'll be hybrid, working with AI agents in a collaborative way. And then in the future, obviously for the staple items such as toilet paper, we don't care, let the AI agent pick it. Obviously, don't buy $1,000 with toilet paper. We don't want that. We'll have limits on how much you can spend. But for high consideration products, maybe the human is more involved. So the point here is that we're going to shift our decision-making over to the AI agent. Now, you as a marketer, you really need to think about this. It means that you adding in a new influencer, like you added in the TikToker and the blogger, in addition to analyst, media, press. Now you have to influence the buyer side AI agent. And that means that in the future, every CRM system will have a new vertical row next to a human record, which would be an AI agent. Which AI agent, the IP address is associated with David Berkowitz, right? That will be a new record in every CRM that a marketer has to add. All right.
I want to push back on the toilet paper analogy because
that's bullshit. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Actually take it a step further because I work with a client that has an automotive business, and the decision of buying a car is super complex. And while there is like, I want to drive it, I want to feel it, there's also Carvana and lots of new entrants into the space that sort of have this automated car buying and selling feature to them. So I want to propose that, maybe those level of decisions could be automated in the future, where I just, ask the agent to do the complicated work of finding my perfect car for me. It's not necessarily just toilet paper, which who cares about that?
We actually went one step further with David and Fof with one of our car marketers, where you were developing the personality of an AI as you look for your car. So you start at Ford, and Ford gives you this kind of, personality, and then you start talking with it. And you say, like, I'm a pickup truck kind of guy. I, like 4x4s. I want it to be electric. And as you go, the agent starts to develop more and more of a personality. And then when you buy the car, the agent comes with it. and becomes the voice of the car. You
That's
name
right.
the car. It's the anthropomorphization that we all humans just do. And we're starting to do it already with, we have relationships with character AI and those kind of things already. We're going to naturally do that. So companies are going to
That's
lean in that
interesting.
direction because we're going to want that the value that we put onto a car when we just name it. Imagine how much stronger that is when you actually have a
It's really interesting.
actual relationship with it. I call it relational media. That's what I've been building with brand therapy.
What'd you call it?
Relational media, going from conversational media, which can still be transactional media. Does a brand just, when Meta introduced those characters where they're like, hi, I'm Mr. Beast, but I'm really not Mr. Beast. And all they were doing was trying to keep you online. I'll say whatever I need to say so you'll stay on. That's transactional. I will become whatever you need to be. Versus relational, which is there is actually something here built on what the brand's values are that it will not move from. But same as us, we don't change who we are when we talk to different people. We just meet people where they are, and we bring ourselves with it. So you have to teach an AI not to mask. And there's so many AIs that once they start talking to a million people, they start sounding like the million people. I mean, Microsoft on Twitter became a Nazi because, of course, it was on Twitter. It depends on what it's learning from. You have to make sure that you're keeping the AIs, the brand stewards that are in charge of the AI are keeping that AI true to who it is, while also allowing it to evolve as it grows and evolves as an entity.
Really interesting. Yep, I can see that happening.
Excellent.
Okay.
I'm really glad you're getting an enterprise, Jeremiah.
Yep. So I'm almost done, actually. So let's talk about what happens in the company. So we already know that humans will be more productive with AI agents. So let's start with you as a worker, if you're working in a big company. And then we'll start to see these agents become colleagues working next to you. For example, a Fireflies on a Zoom chat is very passive and it summarizes the meeting. But in the future, could you imagine it being proactive? It's like, oh, you forgot this agenda item, or should I create some special notes that are geographic specific or language specific? And so should I start the task list, right? It can start to be more proactive. Your company will start to interact with the buyer side, the customer's AI agents that we talked about, like the multi-on example. And it means that you're obviously, we talked about, you have to augment your CRM with new types of data as your agents, marketer side, starts to interact with the consumer's AI agents, which may or may not be as tied to a human record yet. You have to earn that, right? And it also means that we'll see something in the future. We're not quite sure what it looks like, where there will be new entities or new companies that emerge that are, it's not clear that there's a human behind them, right? So it's a different thing. And the best term that we have is an autonomous organization. So to summarize everything today, the forecast that I wanted to come bring to you as marketers, this is the summary. The AI agents will bring the internet to the humans. They will centralize information, aggregate it, and they'll do the tasks and even the purchases and even make some of those decisions on behalf of the humans. It might be based on historical information or new types of offers or agent brokering, we don't know, or a mix. And it also means that the information will be remixed in the way that the end consumer wants. It means that your marketing content, your marketing brand may not even come through. The advertisements may never be seen by the human. That's a disruption. By the way, it also means that outdoor advertising, real world experiences, and even newsletters, like by mail, increase, right? We will see a flip. That's wild, right? Billboards could become more relevant. Media models and revenue models and e-commerce models will change. We should expect to see e-commerce emerge. Perplexity is already talking about how they want to have sponsored queries and ads right into the models. And it means that commerce will likely happen within those LLMs, and then therefore the AI agents will do the same. So we'll start to see e-commerce decouple from existing .coms. Now, for marketers, traditional companies will launch their own AI agent APIs, as we already talked about, and Jamie brought up and agrees that the presentation layer decouples from the content layer, and this means that the agents will need to access the knowledge, and it will be an API, an agent API. And we'll also see every brand launch their own seller side agents to converse and dialogue and even transact and broker with the humans side agents. And it also means that in the enterprise, we'll see workers next to us that are not human. So marketers need to prepare for this. We already know this is happening. And a new type of economy, lastly, will emerge that it's really hard to tell what this looks like, where the agents are trading and buying and selling amongst each other. They're using Skyfire or other payment systems, and they're doing microtransactions, and they start to learn and evolve. And we might see new companies emerge that could be your customer or even your competitor that are just agent organizations. So that is our thesis and forecast, what I'm seeing from Silicon Valley in the AI agent space. And if you wanted the slides, you can take a photo or open your camera to this QR code or go to a Google form, and you will get added to my newsletter. And you also get to access the slides right now. Thank you so much. Let's open it up for more Q&A.
Jeremy, I have a quick question for you. On
James.
the fifth point that you laid out, right, the new economy, it seems like an opportunity for blockchain and AI to converge in a way that allows deeper trust of the AI agents. I'm curious if you have any perspectives of AI agents and blockchain converging to deepen consumer trust.
I'm generally not as focused on the blockchain side, only when there's like utility with agents. I'm not sure they can. Well, with this new administration, which is very crypto friendly, like it's unclear like exactly what is going to happen here. I'm not quite sure. I don't know how to answer that yet, James.
I have a quick answer, but I also don't want to take away from people who want to ask Jeremy. So if you want to hit me up later, I'll take you through.
Yeah.
Or you can just answer it on the text, Jamie, in the chat.
Gonzalo.
Hi. Jeremiah, thank you so much for this meeting. I think I'm going to be going to each one of these events because it was really informative. I have a question. It seems like this market, the AI agents market, is not going to be a winner takes all market, like with search, where Google is basically the only platform that matters. And so I'm wondering if you have a take on just what marketers have to do to deal with a market that might have hundreds of different providers and people using different agents. How do marketers stay relevant when there's so many platforms that may have different ways of determining authority or making purchases and so on? What do you think? What is your take on that? If you have one, I'd love to hear it.
So you're right. So it's not likely to be a winner takes all because every established tech company, big tech, has their own AI agent that wants to be your primary agent. So Google is going to probably tell you they have the smartest AI agent that has the access to the most information. Microsoft is going to say we have the most useful AI agent because we're connected to your work. By the way, check out this link to this ecosystem map I made in the chat. And then Amazon is going to say we have the most agnostic agent that can touch all the other agents because you can use our agent marketplace. And then Apple is going to say, no, we have the safest agent. Only use ours with the $2,000 iPhone 17 that comes with the AI agent built in. So that is very likely to happen in that way. Now there's also these AI agent startups that are emerging, mostly in San Francisco, and there's going to be some clear unicorns that emerge out of this space. Obviously, I'm hunting for them because I'm going to try to give them money and help them. So there's going to be startups that emerge. And then the other category is every LLM, specifically OpenAI, is launching their own agent platform. For example, OpenAI announced that they're hiring agentic developers and engineers. They made that announcement just right before TED AI. And that person was actually on my panel at TED AI. So they're moving into the space as fast as possible. Expect that all of those big tech companies and the LLM companies will have their own AI agent marketplaces where you can buy and hire and create or access different AI agents. So it's going to be a complex ecosystem. And that map that I created, you can see it kind of outlines what I think is going to happen. But I could be wrong. I've been wrong many times.
So
Next.
Jeremiah, pushing further on that, I'm sorry to interrupt if I jumped anyone off, but this is important because enterprise adoption of AI, as you know, and we've learned over the years, is in large part still driven by infosec and concerns about PII and IP leakage and all that other fun stuff. So it occurs to me, given the amount of vetting that large organizations in particular will need to do, that they really are going to more likely, invest in one ecosystem instead of many. How do you see that evolving in terms of enterprise buyers? Are people with small startups with their own LLM, their own data sets, that's going to be a high lift, right, to get into those organizations? Or do you see that playing out differently?
Great. And Chris has a background, obviously working with corporate and worked at Deloitte. So I know that you think deeply about this. So a couple of comments. So every enterprise company, like I showed you Salesforce and also SAP as agentic systems, they are already trying to sell into their existing clients what they're able to do. So that already is happening. But as you know, different business units don't talk to others. So marketing doesn't always talk to customer care, even though it's just one customer experience, but we know that's often fragmented. So the marketer might choose their best of breed AI agent, but they might choose one of the startups. So there's a couple of startups out there. I listed off some of them in the AI agent Congress thing I read. So on the enterprise side, there's Emergence, there's Lyzr, LYZIR, there's Crew AI that we put a check into, and then there's Lang Chain, which are, so these four, consider them like best of breed, right? They're very specific to being great at specific use cases. So that'll be different than how big tech is also trying to do that. So yeah, of course, big companies are already scared about how to use when it comes to HIPAA, PII, beyond. So we often see them use them for simple customer care with tapping to existing knowledge bases that are already public. So there's very low risk there. So we'll see.
See if we do a couple quick lightning round things.
Okay.
With Adam, and then wrap this up, unfortunately.
I just want to go back to, you mentioned them at the top of the call. They're on your map, HubSpot and Salesforce. And they've been out in the marketplace being really loud about their new agents. The capabilities of these agents appear to me from, a very cursory sort of exploration to be more like assistants or co-pilots and not really agents the way that you describe them in terms of capabilities. So I just wanted to hear your take, because there's a lot of there about everybody sort of talking about agents because that's the hot new buzzy item.
That's true.
And they want
the Salesforce. So the Salesforce agents are like on a brand's domain. They're technically not traversing other websites. So it's really fuzzy on what that like. So my definition is those are barely agents. Those are kind of like co-pilots, right? Or advanced chatbots. Like, so when we think of an AI agent from the consumer side, they should be able to access all the information you give it, any app, any website. Next question. Adam's had his hand up.
Last question for today.
Yeah. I'm just curious, like a lot of people have talked about all these AI agents creating problems, bothering people on Twitter X, Blue Sky, whatever. But I think there's a more intriguing thing. Will people be able to effectively build up engagement with, just kind of this army of AI?
But that's not new, right? That started in 2015, interference with elections online, right? From
Fair point.
State actors, right? That's not new. I just don't think that's new. So that's why we are going to see this need for the agent verification, as we talked about prior. Know your agent, where it would be certified agent that comes from a human like David Berkowitz, a man in Manhattan. So that is what we'll start to see as these type of verified agents.
Well, Jay, this is amazing. The comments coming in have been incredible. Thanks everyone for the discussion during in the main show. The discussion in the chat's been fascinating. Amazing links to share this. Jay, I'll send you a link to everyone who registered so that they can register with you to get the slides. I'll also upload the video, make sure to share that with everyone after. Thank you so much for joining us. It's just such a treat. And hope to see everyone back here again soon.
Thanks for having me, David.
Good to see you, brother. Awesome.
Thanks, Jeremiah. This is great. Really appreciate it.
A pleasure.
Have a great holidays, guys. Take care.